Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 7th round of the 1961 season, the Italian Grand Prix. It was held on the 10th of September, it had 37 entries, 32 of them took part in the race with 20 having to retire. The race consisted of 43 laps completed in 2 hours, 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Von Trips started the race from pole with Riccardo Rodriguez in 2nd, Günther 3rd, Phil Hill 4th, Graham Hill 5th and Giancarlo Baghetti started from 6th. After a fantastic drive, Phil Hill took the checkered flag to win the Italian Grand Prix, Dan Gurney finished in 2nd, 31.2 seconds behind. McLaren ended the race in 3rd, 2 minutes 28.4 seconds behind the leader. Jackie Lewis crossed the line in 4th, he was 2 minutes 40.4 seconds behind. Tony Brooks finished in 5th, he was 2 minutes 40.5 seconds behind. And the last point scoring position went to Roy Salvadori, he was 1 lap behind. Baghetti managed to post the fastest lap of the race, a 2 minute 48.2 second lap. We return to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a very long steeply banked 180-degree right-hand corner. Turn 2 is another long steeply banked 180-degree right-hand corner, which brings us onto the longest straight of the track. This ends with turn 3, Curva Grande, a fast right-hand corner. Next is Roggia, a fast left-hander, which brings us into the first of the 2 Lesmos, a medium-speed right-hander. The second Lesmo is also a medium-speed right-hander, however it is a bit tighter. From here we move on to Curva Via Leone, a very fast left-hander. Finally, we come into Parabolica, a 180-degree right-hand corner. Pay attention as the corner opens up on the exit, but this brings us around onto the main straight and that is a lap around the Monza Circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to set our first flying lap, a 2:46.177, which incidentally puts us into pole position. Well, that doesn't really sound like much actually, because there were only 2 other people who actually posted any qualifying time, and here I am coming around to set a slightly faster 2:46.105. That's 7/10 of a second faster, and I kind of decided that I had enough qualifying, and here I am pulling to the side of the race and to the side of the track and ending our qualifying session. And we are now having a look at the previous Italian Grand Prix winners. Last time we've won here was in 1953, and let's take a look at the grid lineup. We have Phil Hill on pole with Higgs in 2nd, that's pretty good actually, with Trintignant 3rd, 4th De Beaufort, 5th is Richie Günther followed by Jim Clark in 6th, 7th is Sterling Moss, Jackie Lewis is 8th, 9th is Tony Brooks followed by Dan Gurney in 10th. In 11th we have Giancarlo Baghetti followed by Bruce McLaren, who is sitting in 12th, followed by Jack Brabham in 13th and Innes Ireland in 14th. Graham Hill is 15th, Lorenzo Bandini 16th, John Surtees is 17th, Joe Bonnier 18th, 19th is Roy Salvadori and Maston Gregory is down in 20th. So that was the grid lineup for the Italian Grand Prix. Quite excited for this race, and although the track seems to be dry, it's actually quite wet at the moment, so fingers crossed that everything goes well. The flag's down and we are off to a slightly slow start. However, I managed to keep everyone behind me, so that's pretty good. Although Maurice Trintignant is now challenging me for 2nd position, Phil Hill is pulling away massively. As we come into turn 1 here, I managed to consolidate my 2nd place, and something happened to Trintignant. I saw him in my mirrors driving up the hill to our right, so he probably ended up retiring. But we have a replay of the start here, and we see Phil Hill they're pulling away really quickly as Trintignant tried to challenge me for 2nd position. However, I managed to stay ahead, and as we came through turn 1 here, and there we see Trintignant losing control of his car, as well as De Beaufort, it seems, in the orange portion. Here is a replay of De Beaufort. We saw him lose control of his car, and well, he's out of the race. And a replay of Maurice Trintignant as well. They both lost control of the car, went over the fence there, and they're pretty much out of the race at this point. As we now move towards the end of lap 2 here, and Jim Clark manages to overtake me for 2nd position. We now fall down into third as I go very wide through Parabolica. I try to keep it as tight as possible, but I couldn't really do it. Then towards the end of lap 3, I once again go very wide through Parabolica, and Jackie Lewis manages to overtake me for third. So we are now in fourth with Bruce McLaren right on our tail. However, I do have a pretty good run out of Parabolica and manage to get side by side with Jackie Lewis just as we enter turn 1 here, and we are back up in third position, which is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully we can catch Jim Clark as well at some point. We are now on lap 4 here and still trying to keep Jackie Lewis behind me, who is right on my gearbox. I can't really get rid of him, unfortunately, but who knows, maybe I'll be lucky. However, at the end of the lap, Jackie Lewis went into the pits, and not entirely sure what happened as we see a bunch of cars in the pits. Jackie Lewis is off the jacks now. A bunch of other cars are off the jacks, they are on the move. However, Lewis is still in place and he is out of the Italian Grand Prix, so for some reason he decided to retire. And here is Lorenzo Bandini coming into the pits, pushing and shoving cars left and right, and well, he is out of the Grand Prix as well. Not entirely sure why, but they both retired from the race. So anyway, we are now coming around to start lap 5, and we move into the lead as Phil Hill is in the pits, which means that we will have to come into the pits as well, because well, otherwise this would be an unfair advantage for us if we do not pit. And then towards the end of lap 5, coming into Parabolica, Phil Hill caught up to me, he overtakes me, and I lose control of the car midway through the corner, and there Sterling Moss comes and crashes right into me. Not quite sure why, but there's that. And now I'm having troubles getting the car out of the gravel trap. It took me about 16 seconds to come out of the gravel trap. That's a very long time to waste. And Dan Gurney is out of the Grand Prix, and we have a replay of that. He loses control of the car through Parabolica and kind of gets stuck there. As we come around to start lap 6, we overtake Innes Ireland for 6th position. However, obviously we won't keep this position because we will have to pit at the end of this lap. However, we didn't keep that position for very long, because coming through Lesmo, Ireland caught up to me and well, he took the position. And here we are at the end of lap 6, coming into the pits to refuel and change tires. And Jim Clark is actually out of the race. So as I kind of try to get myself into position, let's have a look at a replay of Jim Clark, who is coming into the pits to retire as well. Apparently he had some problems with his gearbox, so unfortunate for him, but that's racing, I guess. And we are finally on the move again, coming out of the pits. I hit the railing on the right there, spin the car and lose a bunch of even more time as a bunch of cars go past me. That just goes to show why we have speed limits in the pits today, because well, it's very easy to lose control and crash. And here we are on lap 8, Maston Gregory caught up to us and we fall down into 14th, and from here whatever I tried, I couldn't catch up to anyone as we now move on to the final lap, and Phil Hill crosses the line to take the win of the Italian Grand Prix. I think this is his third victory of the season, and here we have a replay of Phil Hill coming around to take the win and also post the fastest lap of the race. So kind of a 2-in-1 deal. Very well done to Phil Hill. Quite happy for him, although well, this is bad news for Andy, obviously. And here we are coming around to finish the race in 14th again after pitting. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I was really struggling to keep up with the AI, so yeah, didn't go too well after that. And here are the retirements, the race results. We are at the very bottom, unfortunately, and here are the retirements. So that was the Italian Grand Prix. Not a very good result for Andy. Started off quite well, and then after the pit stops and after the track started to dry up, the AI started to go faster and faster, and I couldn't really keep up with them, so that's pretty much it, I guess. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and I have to make a correction. I should have made this during the German Grand Prix, however I only noticed my mistake afterwards. The German Grand Prix was in fact Andy's 100th Grand Prix, not the British Grand Prix as I previously thought. I guess I was a bit excited and I wanted to believe that the British Grand Prix was his 100th race, however that wasn't actually the case. So anyway, with the revised career statistics, this was Andy's 101st Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 6 pole positions, has set 16 fastest laps, his best finishes in first, has completed 71 races, 56 of them in the points, has won 34 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 379 points, has retired 30 times, has experienced 2,298 out of 2,766 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 34 gold trophies, and as an extension 34 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Phil Hill is leading with Richie Ginther in second, Ines Ireland in third, fourth is Dan Gurney-Moss, fifth, and Baghetti is in sixth. Andy Higgs and Graham Hill fighting for 7th at the moment. The last person to score points is Roy Salvadori down in 18th, and Maston Gregory is at the very bottom of the standings. So with that, I think that Phil Hill actually wins the Drivers' Championship. I don't really see any... Actually, no, whatever happens, Richie Ginther could only score 9 points, whatever happens from here on out, so... That's that, I guess. Phil Hill wins the 1961 Drivers' World Championship. That's exactly what he did in real life, so kind of cool, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to the constructors next. And here Ferrari are once again leading the championship with Team Lotus in second, Porsche third, fourth are Owen Racing Organization, Rob Walker Racing Team are fifth, sixth are Scuderia Sant'Ambreus, and Ecurie Marsbergen are the last team to score points down in 11th. And with that, I do believe that Ferrari also win the Constructors' Championship. There aren't enough points for Lotus to win anymore. Maybe if the point system would work as it works in modern days with the cumulative points, so that all the points from all finishers count, but that's not how the scoring system worked back then, so unfortunately that means that Lotus have no chance of winning anymore. So those weren't the standings for the drivers and constructors. Our next and final race of the season is going to be the United States Grand Prix at a brand new track. We've changed tracks at the United States Grand Prix every single time since its inception. This time it is going to stay for a very, very long time, and the track we will be racing at is Watkins Glen, a favorite of mine. Actually, I consider Watkins Glen to be probably the best road track from the United States. There really aren't a lot of circuits in the United States I personally like. However, Watkins Glen is one of the very few I do enjoy. I also enjoy Sebring to some extent, and for some people Sebring is more famous than Watkins Glen. However, for me, Watkins Glen is more enjoyable to drive. So I'm looking forward to see how things go in the United States. But that is it for the Italian Grand Prix. Great race for Phil Hill, who, as I said, wins the championship. There's nothing anyone can do at this point anymore. Congratulations to Ferrari as well, who win their second title in a row. And unfortunately for Andy Hicks, he had another very disappointing season. But that is it for this video. Once again, not a very good race for Andy, but hopefully things will look up in 1962. Who knows? But anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment, I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and IL-2 Thermovic 1946. So if you're interested in any of those games, there will be a link in the description to my second channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, stay sharp.